Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The war between the US and Israel against Iran has been talked about for the last few months. The actual fighting started in earnest a few days ago. Many people have been asking, this is a war far away from Africa. We will not be touched. The reality is we will be touched. One of the immediate consequences of this war is that, of course, it's going to disrupt oil supplies the world over. And whenever there is a crisis, such as shortage of fuel, those of us in the developing countries are always touched. I think it's no exaggeration to say that when those in the developed countries catch a cold, we in the developing countries cough blood. And by the time those in the developing countries start coughing blood, we in the developing countries are dead. How will this war affect us? Well, as you well know, that the Middle East, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and so forth, this is where most of the oil is coming from. And here is a BBC report already talking about how the oil supply is being interrupted.
Through the Strait of Hormuz is under threat due to the US-Israel conflict with Iran. We've verified this video of the aftermath of a reported strike on a tanker called the Skylight, which was in the strait. It occurred on Sunday, though what exactly happened to the vessel is still unclear. Many oil tankers are avoiding the waterway, which lies between Iran and the Gulf state. Its narrowest point is just 24 miles wide. This time lapse, starting on the 27th of February, shows busy ship traffic through one part of the strait. But since Sunday, we can see a sharp decrease in ships moving through this part of the strait. This matters economically for the world because normally around 20 million barrels of oil a day pass through the Hormuz Strait, a fifth of global consumption. That's why the global oil price instantly spiked 10% to $82 a barrel when trading began on Sunday. Though it's worth bearing in mind that it's still well below the price of more than $120 a barrel seen after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. In 2023, the International Monetary Fund estimated that a 10% increase in oil prices could increase global inflation by 0.4 percentage points the following year and reduce global growth by around 0.15 percentage points.
And the truth of the matter is, those economic realities affect Africa because one of our weaknesses, of course, we don't have much economic resilience. We don't have any reserves. So any disruption will hit the developing countries very hard. Some of the infrastructure that is being destroyed will take months at least to repair and get them back into production. And during that period, it means the oil supply, for instance, will not be what it is today. And during that period, those countries that do not have oil reserves will suffer economically. That is the reality. So, as much as the war itself may not affect Africa directly, no African country will be bombed. Yes, any Africans who are in any of those Middle East countries right now could well be caught in the war. But most African countries are not likely to be involved in the war directly. It is a good thing in itself. But nonetheless, like I said, will be affected indirectly by this war. And it's not likely to end very soon. So, God knows when it will end. That is the reality. Wars are a bad thing for any country because it destroys infrastructure and many people are killed. That is the reality. My advice to anyone out there is you should not, if you can avoid it, have anything to do with what is going on in the Middle East. And for the African leaders, there's no need for the posturing and try to get involved. The complexity of the war that is being fought there actually leaves out many of the African countries. The complexity of the war itself is such that the kind of weapons that the African countries have, even fighter jets and so forth, are not sophisticated enough to really make any difference in a war like that, because this is a high-tech war. The level of technology has moved up. So we can only sit and watch what is going to happen next. But like I said, when those in the developing countries catch a cold, we in the developing countries cough blood. That's the reality.